Hey guys, this is a wanted to trade Wi-Fi biology with my friend Frosty OG. We wanted to trade some Pokemon and made a team out of it. So he leads off with his Scyther and I lead off with my Nosepass, Mr. Potato Head. He's already nicknamed that, so it's kind of weird. He goes for the Vacuum Wave. It does decent damage. I go for the Spark, which does absolutely nothing for being super effective. So he U-turns out to switch out and get some damage off. And that does a lot of damage for being a U-turn. He switches out into his Amoonguss, his Hutusasa. I don't know how to pronounce that. I go for the Rock Slide, which does nothing. So then I switch out into my Fletchinder. He goes for the Solar Beam, which does absolutely nothing to me, while I go for the Flame Charge. I get the Speed Boost and then the Solar Beam comes out. He hits me. Does 20. I go for the Aerial Ace, almost killing him. I get the Fix Born get poisoned. He tries going for the Toxic, but I'm already poisoned. So I take that poison damage, and then I go for another Flame Charge, killing off his Amoonguss, Amoonguss. So his Amoonguss dies, and he switches out into his Sneasel after I get the poison damage. The Sneasel comes out, and he fakes me out. But since this Fletchinder is Flame Body, he gets burned. So I flinch, and then I just take the damage. He switches out to his Shinx. Switches out, we all get a poison and burn damage. He switches out to his Shinx, which has the Intimidate, which makes no sense because it's not intimidating at all. So I get the Razor Wind up, or start using the Razor Wind, get the poison damage. So I use the Razor Wind, hits him okay, half health, and he bites me, which ends up killing my Fletchinder. So I switch out into my Kangaskhan. And I go for the Earthquake, which kills the Shinx. He switches into Scorpy. I go for the Power Up Punch, just to get, my attack raised. He goes for the Poison Fang. Then I go for the Comet Punch, and it hits twice, but still does nothing. He goes for another Poison Fang, trying to get the poison off on me. I went for the Thunderbolt, which I don't know why I went for that. Could have went for another Earthquake. He does another Poison Fang. I finally Earthquake, which ends up killing him. After his Scorpy dies, he switches into his Litleo, which I switch out into my Sliggoo. When I go into the Sliggoo, he uses Ember, which doesn't do anything. So then I take another Ember, and then I go for he gets a critical hit, and I go for the Muddy Water. It almost kills his Litleo, but then he goes for a Tackle, and I go for another Muddy Water, which ends up killing the Litleo. After he dies, he switches out into his Scyther. Once he goes for his Scyther, he knows he's gonna die, so he goes for the Quick Attack. And then I'll go for the Infestation to get that little bit of damage off every turn. He goes for the Leer, after getting the infestation, taking the damage. He lowers my defense, and I go for an ice beam, and I get a crit, which kills it. And then he switches into his last Pokemon, his Sneasel. So he goes for the Icicle Crash, and I die. So then I go into my Nose Pass. And luckily for me, this Nose Pass already had Mr. Potato Head. He already had a berry with him. So he goes for the Fake Out, but it fails. And I go for the Resto Chesto. After I regain my health and eat the Chesto berry, he gets his burn damage. And then he goes for the taunt to probably stop me from resting. Then I go for the Rock Slide, which almost kills him with the burn damage to you. Barely kills him, or barely lives. And then he goes for the taunt again, and then I go for the Rock Slide. And that is the end of the battle. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.